This video is designed to help you make a fraction out of your remainder. What is a remainder? A remainder exists when your divisor doesn't go into your dividend evenly, meaning you don't have enough remaining to make another group. What is a remainder? A remainder is the leftover amount after you have divided. Let's see what that looks like in an actual problem. So this problem is 10 divided by 4. We're trying to find out how many groups of 4 are in 10. I'm going to start by drawing 10 circles. Then I'm going to take those 10 circles and I'm going to put them in groups of 4. So there's a group of 4 here and a group of 4 here. You'll notice that there are 2 leftover circles that don't make enough to make another group. Let's look at what that looks like in the problem. 10 divided by 4. The first step is to divide. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8, and then we subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. Our problem is complete because we have no more digits in our dividend to divide. So now how do we write our answer? Well, we know that we made 2 whole groups of 4. Those are the 2 purple rectangles. And we had 2 pieces left over, but we really needed 4 pieces to make another group. So the fraction is 2 whole numbers and 2 pieces left when I needed 4 to make another group. Let's try it again. This time it's 23 divided by 4. 4 into 22 or into 2. We divide first. Does 4 go into 2? Goes in 0 times. 0 times 4, that's the multiplication step, equals 0. Then we subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. And then we bring down the next number, which is the 3. And then we repeat the process. So 4 goes into 23 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. When we subtract, we get a remainder of 3. When we write our answer, we know that the whole number is going to be 5. There were 5 total groups of 4 in 23. And there were 3 pieces left over when I needed 4 to make an additional group. Don't forget the long division algorithm. DMSBR. Daddy, mommy, sister, brother, repeat. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, repeat. Now you try. We're going to take each problem and rewrite it and solve it using the standard algorithm for long division, and then write our answer with a remainder as a fraction. Start with question number 1. The divisor goes into the dividend. 4 goes into 1 0 times. 0 times 4 is 0. When I subtract, I get a 1. I bring down the 5. 4 goes into 15 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. I subtract, I get 3. And then I bring down the 4. 4 goes into 34 8 times. And that's 32. When I subtract, I get 2. Now let's write it as an answer. We know we had 38 groups of 4, and I had 2 left over when I needed 4 to make another group. Now, because you guys have been taught how to simplify, we need to make sure we simplify these fractions, and 2 and 4 share a common factor of 2. So we're going to divide by 2 on the top and the bottom. Dividing 2 by 2, I get 1. Dividing 4 by 2, I get 2. So the final answer for this problem is 38 1/2. And if you think about it, 2 is half of 4. All right, let's try question number 2. Now, at this point, you should be pausing the video, writing the problem down, trying it yourself, and then coming back to make sure you got it correct. I'm going to rewrite this problem in a long division format. 8 does not go into 1, so we put a 0, and 8 times 0 is 0, and we subtract. I get a 1, and I bring down the 2. We divide. 8 into 12 goes 1 time. 1 times 8 is 8, and I subtract, and I get a 4, and I bring down the 1. 8 goes into 41 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. When I subtract, I'm left with 1. Now to write this as a fraction, we know we had 15 whole groups. We had 1 left over when I needed 8 to make another group. Again, I would recommend pausing the video before you start the next problem and make sure you can do it on your own. All right, so this is 20 into 215. 20 does not go into 2, so it goes in 0 times. 0 times 20 is still 0. When we subtract, we get a 2, and we bring down the 1. 20 goes into 21 one time. 1 times 20 is 20. When I subtract, I get a 1. Bring down the next number, 5. 20 does not go into 15, but remember, every time we bring a number down, we have to put something up. So since 20 does not go into 15, it goes in 0 times. 0 times 20 is 0, and when I subtract, I'm left with 15. So we're going to get a whole 10 groups of 20, and we have 15 left when we needed 20 to make another group. Now 15 and 20 share a common factor of 5, so we're going to divide by 5 on the top and the bottom to make sure that our fraction is simplified. 15 divided by 5 is 3, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. So our final answer will be 10 wholes and 3 out of 4. Our next problem, make sure you pause and copy it down and try it yourself before you go over it, looks like this: 8 into 45. 8 goes into 4 0 times. 0 times 8 is 0, so we subtract, we get 4. We bring down the 5. 8 goes into 45 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40. When I subtract, I get a 5. So 8 goes into 45 5 whole times, with 5 left over when I needed 8 to make another whole group. Let's go on to number 5. Again, pause the video, make sure you've tried it on your own first. In question number 5, we know it's 2,856 divided by 30. 30 does not go into 2, so we're going to put a 0, and I'm just going to save some space, because if it doesn't go into 2 and it doesn't go into 28, we're going to have to go all the way out to the 5, and I'm not wasting time doing all that subtraction, because when I subtract, I'm ultimately going to be left with 285. So now we look at how many 30s go into 285. Now I don't know that off the top of my head, but I'm going to make an estimate. 30 goes into 28 or 285. That's really close to 300. And 30 goes into 310 times. So I know it can't be 10 because that would be too much, but let's try 9. So 30 times 9 is 0 and 27. So 270. What we're looking for is a number that's as close to this number as possible without going over. And again, if we did 30 times 10, you'd find you get 300. And 10 isn't an option anyway because we only put single digits here. So we know that 9 is going to be the answer, and 9 times 30 was 270. So I'm going to take that. 9 times 30 is 270, and then we subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5, and 8 minus 7 is 1. Then I bring down. So we're still following that same algorithm, even though the numbers are a little bit tough. All right, let's take a look here. Now, I don't know how many 30s go into 156, but I do know that 3 times 5 is 15. So let's see what happens when I take 30 times 5. 0 and 15. Well, that's as close as I'm going to get because that will leave me with 6 extras. That's not 30. So 5 is the correct estimate, and 5 times 30 is 150. And when I subtract, I get a 6. So to write this out as a mixed number, we know that 30 went into 2,856 95 times, with 6 left over when I needed 30 to make another whole. Now, 6 and 30 share a common factor of 6, so to finish this problem, we need to simplify. So this becomes a 5, 6 divided by, becomes a 1, and 30 divided by 6 is a 5. So this is 95 and 1/5. And notice each time I've been boxing in my answers. That's the surest way to make sure that I am very clear as the teacher as to what the answer is, and you as the person who did the work are also very clear on it. Let's do the last problem together. So 222 divided by 15. Again, 15 does not go into 2, but it does go into 22, and it goes in one time. 22 minus 15. This is where I'm going to have to actually use some of those regrouping skills I've learned. I can't take 5 away from 2, so I'm going to regroup. The 2 here becomes 1, and now I have 12. 12 minus 5 is 7, and 1 minus 1 is 0. Then I'm going to bring down the next number, 15 into 72. Now, I don't know that one off the top of my head, but what I do know is I can make an estimate. So let's estimate how many times we think 15 goes into 72. Well, I know that 2 15s, think about clock numbers, 2 15s make 30, and 4 15s make 60. One more 15 from 60 would take me all the way to 75, so I think it's only going to be 4. Let's just double check. 15 times 4, this is 20. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 60. If I do 15 times 5, you'll see that I end up with 75, and that's too high. Remember, we're looking for the number that comes closest without going over. So that means that 15 times 4 is my best bet. So I'm going to put a 4 up here, and we already did the math, so we know that 15 times 4 was 60. When I subtract, I'm going to get 12. And since there's no more digits in my dividend to bring down, now I start to write my final answer. So 15 goes into 222 14 whole times, and there are 12 remaining when I needed 15 to make another whole. Now 12 and 15 share a common factor of 3, so I'm going to divide by 3 to simplify. On the top, I will get a 4, and on the bottom, I'll get a 5. So my final answer is 14 4/5. Keep on practicing.